welcome you to the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas, where today we're going to see the Southwest Athletic Conference crown their champion. Will it be Jackson State or will it be Prairie View A&M? Hi again, everyone. I'm Dave Armstrong, along with the Hall of Famer Carolyn Doran Ballard. And Carolyn, this is what they're playing for, these trophies, and it's so cool that the cream has really risen to the top.
Absolutely. Both of these teams are no stranger to success, and it is impressive. Prairie View wins the conference, has 3 girls in the top 3 in average, 1, 2, 3, and Jackson State, though, put the pressure on them to really stay in that #1 position, and as you can see, it flip-flopped, so it's going to be very interesting.
We look at the brackets and we see these two teams had met once before. Jackson State was able to win that match 4-1. I want to point out Southern, though, they have been terrific. As the #6 seed, they made it all the way to the semifinals. But here we go, Prairie View and Jackson State. So let's talk a little bit about Jackson State. And the Lady Tigers are led by Michael Boykins. So look at their lineup, and boy, Capri Howard, she has really been a great anchor.
Absolutely. One of the things you always look for in an anchor bowler is someone who's going to be fierce and competitive and fill frames, and this is what they're finding in Capri Howard.
The Panthers of Prairie View A&M are guided by Glenn White, and he has a young lineup. I mean, a lot of freshmen and sophomores. He does have a junior in Asia Wren who will lead things off.
And what I think is so amazing about Asia is, you really think sometimes about these teams when they come in, it's like, oh, they're already good, they're already prepared. Well, Asia is your example of hard work, dedication, and I'm getting to where I want to be. She looked at her coach and she's like, Coach, I want to work on my release. I want to be the most consistent bowler. And here she is proving to everybody that hard work pays off.
After a year off because of COVID restrictions, we're back bowling again. The Panthers, who won 2 years ago, will try to make it basically 2 in a row. Will it be the Panthers or the Lady Tigers? Come back, we'll find out together.
How about we add some happy little droplets? Sometimes in life you get a little thirsty, and when a refreshing opportunity comes along, you can just... shoot, that's good.
Just stuffed crust. This is Papa John's crust, stuffed.
Wow, you came in hot. Shake and bake, shake and bake. Our lawyers just want you to know that this isn't real.
That's about boy. Just remember my motto. You ain't first.
You're last.
Purchase and get $10 per horsepower with Dodge Power Dollars. That's $7,970 on the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Red-Eye.
We know it's going to take many forms of energy to meet the world's needs while creating a cleaner future for all. At Chevron, we're lowering the carbon emissions intensity of our operations, investing in lower carbon technologies, and exploring renewable fuels of the future. We work hard to care for the homes we love, but it's only human to protect the one we share.
Welcome back to Arlington, Texas, where we are all set for the finals of the SWAC Women's Bowling Championship. Prairie View A&M, they came back to win 4-2 over Jackson State and got out of that loser's bracket. So now here we go. The winner of this best-of-7 match will be the winner of the SWAC. And we're using the Baker format, Carolyn, which means what?
I love the Baker format. True team competition. First bowler bowls the 1st and 6th ring, second bowler 2nd, 7th, and so on and so forth. every single position is important, and we're gonna see why. And the key to Baker Fournette, fill frames.
No question. Here is Asia Wren leading things off for the Panthers, the #1 seed overall and the regular season champions of the SWAC. Asia, in the preliminary match with Jackson State, did just that time and time again to lead things off.
What a fantastic leadoff bowler. And again, you're going to notice with these 10 ladies and plus the subs that come in if they do, college bowling has it's just an unbelievable trend of the great foundation all of these bowlers have, all of the different styles, and what they've learned to incorporate into their game to make them successful.
This is Tiara Jackson, senior from Saginaw, Michigan. And you look at Jackson State, the Lady Tigers. They beat Prairie View A&M once in this competition, but lost once to them. What's their keys to this?
It was really simple. When speaking to Coach Boykins, he said 3 things come to mind. We need to make good shots, we need to stay confident, and we've got to stay ahead of the transition. And one of the ways they want to stay confident is by making their good shots. So he felt all 3 of these would then, with the good shots, lead to being ahead of the transition. So it was kind of like a formula that he came up with.
I would add a 4th, and that would be to make sure you fill frames, which they do not here in the first.
Absolutely.
Tiara Jackson, an open frame to start things off for the Lady Tigers. That was really the big problem for the Lady Tigers in that preliminary match when they lost 4 games to 2. They did not fill frames.
They did not, and what I brought up here when we started was you're going to see a bunch of different styles of bowling. Tiara's a good example. There's a couple of straighter players that like to go right to left. They need to see what moves they're making and then adjust to their game. Then you're going to see somebody like Cheyenne who's going to hook the lane.
And a strike for Vasquez.
Correct.
Vasquez, the sophomore from Hollister, California.
And Stephanie and Cheyenne can lead off of each other because they get around it a little more. They can play the lanes similar. So the girls need to start watching what the girls on their team as well as the other teams doing to stay ahead of that transition.
Here is the sophomore from Stafford, Virginia, Raja Anderson. She did not start game 1 or 2 in the earlier match, but then came on late and actually bowled pretty well.
She bowled very well, and her and Tiara have a similar game. They like to go up and at 'em, so they should be watching each other and making the moves together.
And a little bit high and leaves the 310.
Right here. Doesn't get out of that ball as clean as she was in the earlier match. You know, we talked a little bit about that, about how the girls, one of the keys is getting the thumb out of the ball clean and quick so that they can roll it off their hand. We have a couple of girls that are basically a little more end over end, ball's not hooking very much on the back, and there are some great reasons why, and it's been successful. And then the other girls clearing the thumb but getting around it and playing the lanes a little different and getting some action.
Trying to fit the ball between the 3 and the 10, and she got a little bit too much of the 3. Another open frame for Jackson State. Well, Glenn White, he's the head coach of the Panthers. What are his keys?
His 3 keys were similar, but in a different way. He says we need to have consistency, we need to bowl with confidence, and he used the word team. So I said to him, team, like what does that really mean? He says, everything we try to do, we are in this together as a team.
They've been a great team. And this is one great freshman. Makes it 3 in a row for the Panthers. Wow, you come out and make a statement and ride the wave.
Which I had to learn all about, was riding the wave. But I don't think they liked losing to be the top seed. They came back and won, and I think they are out for blood. Fantastic. She's got a fantastic game.
Oof.
It's just unbelievable how soft her hand is at the bottom, and then she just gets around it.
Has power and athleticism and all of that. And you know what? You see some of that here too. Now here's Natalie Curra. We did not see her in the earlier match. And Natalie Curra comes in for Jackson State. So Michael Boykins, the head coach of the Lady Tigers, really trying to mix things up as his team lost 4 games to 2. He was not happy with the fact that his team did not convert spares. Well, here they go, starting this match with back-to-back open frames.
And he mentioned that they might have a lineup change, and even might not only bring someone in, but maybe even change some positions just to see if they can mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. And there's a spare. But already way behind the 8 ball, the Lady Tigers, as the Panthers have opened up with 3 straight strikes. And a 42-pin lead after just 3 frames. So now here is Crystal Klein, the junior from Katy, Texas. Boy, you talk about a model of consistency. In those 6 games we watched earlier today, she did not have an open frame.
I know, she really was in there. Even when her ball went a little bit high, she got a break and cleaned up the spare. And again, that is so important in Bakers. Even if you're not lined up, make whatever you leave.
That one got a little high, but again, she seems to come out of it. Like when a shot like that could be a little baby split or something like that, trips out to 10, now just the easy 3 to convert.
Right, and here you will see she got that ball to left of the last tracer, so around 11, 12. The better shots were the balls that got to about 9, 10 down the lane, which means I think she already needs to move a little bit left, or she needs to move her eyes to the right, because her best shots were when she had a little bit of angle in the front part of the lane.
And that'll be another filled frame for Crystal Klein.
Here's one of the keys to Baker too. For example, we said that wasn't one of her best shots, but she left something she could spare, right?
Yeah.
She needs to go back and tell her team members, hey, don't make a move based on me. That was all me. Didn't make the best shot. So I can't really give you a read, but just stick to your game plan. That's one of the keys to Baker, is being able to feed off of your teammates.
Here is Kaya Gray, the sophomore. Just a sophomore, but so talented, made the all-SWAC team. And she comes up with a strike here in the 4th.
I love her game. It is so simple. She does not try to overpower the ball, but she continues to just keep it in play. Right here, gets around it just a little bit, gets it out to about 8, 9, almost leaves the 8, 10, but knocks it out. Always keeping the ball in play. Fantastic game. She has great leverage.
And now Patricia Rosales, a sophomore. You think of, boy, the talent on this Panther team, and it's all young. They don't have a senior in their starting 5. And they're 2, probably, would you say the 2 that have the most upside are Cheyenne Washington and Patricia Rosales, who we're going to see here? And they're just freshmen and sophomore.
Absolutely. And you know what makes that team so great, yes, is that they're young. I mean, that's fantastic. But you have 2 bowlers right now that you could mix in a 8, 9, 10 position, 9, 10 position, where you have that consistency of a straighter player, 2 that get around it, and they could flip-flop in 3 different positions. That is very unique.
When we watched this earlier, we were seeing some of the oil start to break down. What have you noticed now as we're into a pattern here? This is actually the 7th game played on this pair.
I think the hook actually is a little bit further right. You know, it's a long pattern, right? And I want to make sure I say it. So it's 43 feet, but there's only 22 milliliters of oil. Not very much oil for a longer pattern. So I think that the hook seems to be just a little bit further to the right, where they would think it might be on a longer pattern. So again, that's where I relate it to. You might see the front where it hooks, that 8, 9, 10 area break down a little sooner, where the girls that hook it are able to get left of it with stronger balls, more surface, getting around it, being able to send it out to that hook spot, where the girls that go straighter are able to get to the right and stand on top of it. So you actually have 2 ways to play the pattern.
Well, there's the spare for Jackson State. They needed that because they're already trailing by 41 at the halfway point of game 1. Training center here. Asia Wren, who struck in the first, strikes again here in the 6th. And that's another double for Prairie View A&M. Boy, they are just going for the jugular here in game 1.
Absolutely, and key words used by Coach White, consistent. She worked on her release. She went to her coach and said, I want to work on my release. I want to be better. And he said, she did that, and now she is a consistent bowler, and she has been.
You know, what's interesting, bowling is a little bit like golf, where you're not supposed to watch your opponent. You're just supposed to play your own game. But it's hard not to watch your opponent when they're doing what Prairie View A&M is doing.
Right.
Tiara Jackson can't get it to the pocket.
Right here, Tiara just sends it a little wide. She gets that one out to 5-6. Again, her best shots are when she lays the ball down around 8-9 and goes from right to left to the pocket. And I almost want to say like an 8 to 12 instead of sending it to the right from 10 to 12, 10 to 5 the other way. She likes to play the lane straighter and from right to left, so she just has to make sure that her angles are where they need to be.
And picks up the spare here in the 6th. But again, the lead, thanks to that double that Prairie View is working on right now, it's up to 54. It can be 64 with another strike here in the 7th. And Stephanie Vasquez. Got him to mix around and whoop, got the 10 out of there.
I like how she's giving her ball a little bit of angle now, giving it a chance to come in light. She was going high just a little bit in the beginning of some of those matches, and now she seems a little more comfortable. And of course, Dave, we said that left lane was the lane that gave everybody trouble, and it went down to the team that could figure it out the quickest.
Well, it looks like the Panthers have figured it out for sure. 7 frames, 5 strikes, 2 spares, not bad. They're not leaving any opening at all for Jackson State in this first game.
No, it's time for Jackson State to start putting some pressure.
Raj Anderson. That's good one. All right.
Right here, very straight, gets it around her back just a little bit. Again, she's playing him a little bit more like her teammate from right to left. I love her ball speed though. She really has nice ball speed.
Cheyenne Washington. Man, she is just a strike machine. 2 strikes in this game. Just a freshman, folks.
That right there is just natural talent. I mean, she drops her ball into the swing. There is no hanging on to it in the backswing. It just drops down. Her thumb gets out of it fast, and she just whips that hand around it. I mean, just a clean game. And I mean, her arm tucks right back in. I mean, that really is picture perfect.
Now here's Natalie Curra. Natalie had a spare in her only frame that she's bowled so far. Now a washout here. Yikes.
Right here. I really like how all these girls are dropping their ball into their swing. That's a change I've seen over the years. It's just, again, this is a long pattern. 2 ways to play them, from right to left, or you've got to be further left than that 8, 9, 10 track area where you're trying to stay on top of it, because that 12 to 7, your ball's not recovering off the pattern. So you have to be left of it, or you have to be right of it and just up and at them.
Another open frame for Jackson State. Sonia Ortiz is going to get a chance to roll the rock here. Prairie View A&M started off with 3 strikes in a row, never look back. They'll dominate game 1. 1-0 Panthers. We'll be back. In Texas, home of the 2021 SWAC Bowling Championship. In essence, Prairie View A&M is really the defending champion, since we did not have a championship last year due to COVID. And so Prairie View A&M, who won in 2019, they also won in 2013 and 2015. So they're trying to make it their 4th overall championship. Meanwhile, Jackson State, they haven't won since 2016 and would like to grab that trophy one more time.
I definitely think they're out for revenge, but Prairie View, I tell you, they have just built a rock solid team. And but you know, again, I put this back to college bowling. I would say, I mean, definitely in the last 10 years, but even in the last 5 years, you have seen some of these programs where they had volunteer coaches, people that didn't know anything about bowling, and they have built great programs.
All right, Tiara Jackson crosses over, but starts with a strike. That's a better start for the Lady Tigers.
Miss way left of her target. She's playing about 8-9. She had about 12-13. Definitely just headed towards the Brooklyn. One of the things I know that she's worked on is just trying to get that ball started a little bit sooner, which I think would allow her to keep that ball in line just a little bit better. But she has come such a long way. I remember watching her when she started.
Duran got a little high and leaves the 3-6-10.
Tucks right back in, gets around it, playing that 15 to 12, goes a little high. Now we've seen this on the right lane. When everybody's come from the left to the right lane, we've seen the ball hook a little bit more on the back. Overall consensus was that right lane did hook more. So off of her shot, that's where we talk about team chemistry, communication. Needs to go back and tell him, hey, I threw it good, and we need to make an adjustment.
And an open frame here for Prairie View A&M. So Jackson State comes out and takes early lead. Anderson had a striker last time up. And that one a little light. Came out of it pretty well, though. Just leaves single pin. These are the ones you really got to bear down, though. You cannot miss a single pin spare the rest of the way if you're Jackson State or Prairie View A&M.
Got that ball just a little right. Remember, she's playing the lanes close to the way Tiara is, from right to left, keeping that ball in front. Once she slides just a little bit left, and that gets away from her, and her ball tends to start to go a little bit to the right. It's too much end over end. Doesn't have enough to come around the corner, but she did. You're right. These are the spares that you need to just pick up, fill the frame.
Just like that. All right. Spare start for Jackson State. And now Stephanie Vasquez will come up for the Panthers. All right. Came out of it, leaving just the 2-pin. We were asking both coaches about what kind of season this has been with the COVID restrictions and all of that. And he said, well, we didn't have a fall rotation. Nobody really bowled in the fall. We all came back in January. And then, you know, in the case of Prairie View A&M, they even had one of their matches canceled because of the freeze that they had here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They were literally on the highway heading to an event. When they found out it was canceled, they turned around and went back, and that was that same highway that had that 100-car pileup here in Texas.
Oh, 35, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God they went back, yeah. That was terrible. But again, you know, she got that ball to the right. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Switching to that right lane, making the adjustment based on what they remember from the last matches, but cleaning up frames.
Now Natalie Curro. That looked good from the time it left her hand. We got a good one going in game 2, an 11-pin lead for Jackson State. Bowling Championships, game 2 of a best-of-7 series. And after taking game 1, Prairie View A&M finds themselves 11 pins down here in the 6th frame. Again, got crossed over there and tugged that one to the left of the head pin and leaves the 5-10.
That's a little bit of a timing issue. Right here, she takes 4 steps. She really just holds on to the ball in the first step, then pushes straight out just a little bit, just a little off at the foul line where it forces her to almost stop and then pull the ball through.
Ooh, nice try. For an open frame in the 6th. Chance now for Asia Wren to give the Panthers their first lead of this game. That leaves just the 7-pin. You look at the first team here in the SWAC, where you just see so many great names, and including, I want to point out Savannah Razor, the freshman from Alabama State. She was the bowler of the year, the freshman of the year. Amazing. But Prairie View A&M with 3 bowlers on the first team, Klein, Washington, and Rosales, and Asia Wren, who you're seeing now, was on the second team. And wow, another open frame for Asia Wren. So that second team includes Wren and also Capri Howard from Jackson State. And then of course Evan Smith from Texas Southern, also Cassie De La Fuente from Texas Southern, and Miranda Remmel from Alabama State. Now uncharacteristically, Asia Wren with 2 open frames here in this game.
Very deliberate in her setup. So actually, all the girls are, but I like the way they make sure their feet are set, ball feels good in their hand, and then they, you know, take their shot.
And Raja Anderson also crosses over and leaves just 1. And look at Glenn White. He's a guy that has been the guiding force of Prairie View A&M, and congratulate him on being Coach of the Year on the SWAC. Also, he's the chairman of the NCAA Bowling Committee now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. There's a spare. So Raja converts here in the 7th frame. Maintain that 10-pin lead. Now Stephanie Vasquez, who had a spare in the 2nd.
Big shot here to set up Cheyenne. Ball speed seems to be very critical for both teams. Right here, I think she misses a little left the target, but I also think she threw it just a little bit slow. her best shots and when she's excelled through it a little bit more, just a little bit more, you know, what's the word I'm actually looking for? It's not deceleration, you want to accelerate through your shot.
Yeah.
And it just seems like she decelerated just a little bit, and that slows up her ball speed.
And there's the spare in the seventh, so it remains 10 pins separating these two. And again, Prairie View won game one, best of 7. Natalie Cura comes up. Natalie had a strike in the third.
Not only with, you know, athletic trainers at the universities, but with coming to places like the ITRC and other training facilities where they can get more knowledge from other coaches and learn how they can incorporate certain things into their team chemistry and team games.
When you look at Coach Boykins, Dr. Boykins, his wife Vicky, who stands back in the background there as assistant coach.
What a great guy to talk to. Oh my gosh.
He's fun. He's very knowledgeable about a lot of things, and I love talking to him about motivation and things like that. Right now, he's very concerned about converting these 10-pin spares. No problem for Natalie Cura. All right, big mark in the 8th. And so now it's Cheyenne Washington's turn. Cheyenne comes from Pontiac, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. And you look at what she's done, and we asked Coach White, how'd you get her to come all the way from Michigan? And he said, well, she was bowling in a tournament with one of my bowlers up in the Ohio area. You know, my bowler won it. And they started talking about Prairie View A&M. I'm trying to get this story in, but she just keeps striking and waving. I mean, she's done nothing but strike. She can't be a freshman. I can't believe she's a freshman.
She is. I told you, that's called natural talent.
She is so good.
Thank God he'll be way retired by the time she hits tour. I'll be way retired by the time a lot of these ladies hit tour.
Got away from her just a little bit, but a makeable spare. Pin count, though, starting to become an issue a little bit here in the 9th.
And that's just one of those shots where, here you go, playing a little straighter. They've been keeping it, the straighter players have been keeping it around 12, 13, not getting it right of 9, 10. This one got right down lane, never made it back. Again, a little bit more end over end, so the ball is much smoother on the back end. So direct is better, and they've used their ball speed to keep it, you know, on line with what they want to do.
Great, and convert here in the 9th, perfect. All right, another filled frame. That makes Coach Boykins happy. And now we go into the 9th frame for Prairie View A&M, and they can take the lead with another strike here. Crystal Klein had a strike in the 4th frame. Oh.
You can always tell when she likes a shot, she gives it that little extra knee bend, but great shot off her hand. She leaves the ring 10. Right here, gives it a little room, gets it right, which is what you have to do. I love using the tracers down lane. As soon as they get it right of that first tracer around 9, 10, you know the ball's gonna hit the pocket.
So it'll be up to those anchor bowlers who bowls best in the 10th with the spare here, which is almost automatic for Crystal Klein. Again, no open frames at all for her. She has avoided even the announcer jinx. I mean, no matter how many times I say that, she still spares.
And both teams have really, I mean, they've bowled pretty darn good games. Yes, Prairie View, the 1st and 6th frame, very, very unlike her to have 2 opens, but the team itself picked themselves back up. So going down the 10th frame.
That's your max score for each team if they both strike out. There's one. Not pretty, but she'll take it. One more here in pin count. We can wrap it up. So this is the big one.
Wonder what's going through her mind. Should be nothing. Just execute.
Right, another Brooklyn. This time no. So that does leave the door open and does not close out the game.
Right here. This way left. She got that around 16, 17. Almost caught the second Brooklyn. Leaving the 3-pin.
Patricia will need to strike on that first ball. Patricia will need a double. So 192 finish. So now Patricia Rosales can come up with a double, then she can pull a rabbit out of the hat for Prairie View A&M.
Double and I'm gonna go. Yeah, double.
Double and 7.
7.
That's one.
Great shot. Gave it room. One of the things I really see with some of these college bowlers is their ball speed has gotten so much better. I
Yes.
remember when some of these programs started. Now, of course, you had girls that had just started bowling for some of these college teams, but their ball speed and their accuracy and their athleticism, I mean, oh my gosh, in the last 5 or 7 years, it has taken just a leap towards perfection.
Looks good. Looks really good. Wow!
That's what you call stepping up to the plate, and there's nothing better than being high flush. That looked like no nerves at all.
And all Coach Boykins can do is just go, oh my goodness.
Well,
What do we have to do? Well, you need 7 here. 6 to tie, 7 to win it. Patricia Rosales strikes out in the 10th frame to bring the Panthers back. Wow, what a finish. And Prairie View A&M takes a 2-0 lead in the best of 7 finals.
We love our
With these players excited as we're in the finals of the SWAC Championship from Arlington, Texas. And right now it's Prairie View A&M leading 2-1. We go to game 4. Jackson State coming off a win in game 3 where they won 216 to 192, and now Tiara Jackson will lead things off for the Lady Tigers.
there you go. You see, she moved deeper. That was a great shot. That is the best shot she has made in 2 games. She's moved further left. Here you go, back into where the girls are.
Yep.
We're playing in about 13, 14. She's thrown it straight, end over end. Her ball's not going to overhook on the end, so with her ball speed, she'll be able to create a little hold. That was a great shot.
You think of the way the 2 seniors came through the Lady Tigers in that last game. Tiara Jackson with those 2 conversions of the 3-10 splits, and then Capri Howard had a strike in the 5th and 2 more in the 10th. So a spare to start things off for Jackson State here in game 4, and now Asia Wren. She made a little bit of move on her last shot as well after having 3 open frames in a row.
Maybe Gonna move on that lane too. I love it. Now she's starting to chase it where the other two girls moved in quicker. Love it. Little bit flat, probably moved a little bit too much, but hey, remember we talked about we want to be light instead of through the nose. She could probably move back one, slow it up a little, whatever she wants to do just to kick that 10 out. But fill the frame.
Spares to start. And now Raja Anderson.
I'd like to get in the head of these girls and just say to them, okay, you flat 10'd, you threw good. What's your move? Like, what would be your first move? And would your first move be different under pressure or not? Because I know what my move would be.
Great move there for Raja Anderson.
I love it. They're all starting to play the same. They're all starting to play the lanes similar with that in the front part of the lane, especially the girls that are going a little straighter. That is the move. They needed probably a game prior, but got past it last game. So this is I'm gonna tell you, these next couple of matches are gonna be good. So my move,
Yes.
always would have been on flat 10. Della always said, move a couple left and get around it.
Ah,
And then if that didn't work, I'd probably move back right and throw it a little bit harder. And if that didn't work, ball change.
and an answer from Stephanie Vasquez. Oh boy, this is getting good.
Making the moves, girls are starting to follow each other. Made that move in, laying it down around 16, 17. Love having the tracers there so you can watch the ball as it's entering the pocket. Great shot.
Another one for Natalie Cura. Well, both teams getting locked in now. Now Cheyenne Washington, in a perfect world, she said she would like to be a pro bowler and architect.
Well, she definitely has the skills to be a pro bowler, and I'm going to assume she has good grades, and she will be a great architect.
Another strike. She makes it look so easy. Gaining 4. We'll be back.
How about we add some happy little droplet?
We're back to Arlington, Texas with Carolyn Doran-Ballard, the Hall of Famer. I'm Dave Armstrong. As we are locked up in quite a battle between Prairie View A&M and Jackson State for the SWAC championship. Right now, a 4-pin lead for the Panthers. Tiara Jackson. Got it.
That's where I think Capri Howard needs to move into. Get a little bit left, straight just like that. Right here, rolling it. She even got that one a little right around 12, 13. It came in light. The last one, she was about 14, 15. But you got the pin action.
So a big strike in the 6th frame. Now Asia Wren. She struck. What happened all of a sudden? Because she was just so solid. And all of a sudden, the last few games, it's just been...
Seems a little off at the line here.
Yeah.
Seems like she slid a little bit too much.
Yeah.
A little bit slower. Got the ball to the right, actually. And it just overbounced.
Okay.
On a strike, though, you want to get 2.
That's what she did. Huge double here for Jackson State. 18-pin lead. Strike in the second for Vasquez. And another one here in the seventh.
Boy, once she made that move left, it just looks like a butter.
Yeah.
Smooth as silk. How do you like that?
You bet.
But it does. I mean, it's just her tempo and everything looks so much more just solid and smooth.
Strike for Natalie in the third. Not this time, but a good shot.
Good shot. Gets it going up the lane.
Just a touch high.
And I like that look for her too, but again, those other two girls on her team have moved a little left. She's gonna have to make a move. I would do exactly what she's doing and just keep chasing it to the left.
Ooh, hung on long enough. So the spare in the eighth. 54 now for Jackson State. Chance to cut into the lead a little bit, make it a 7-pin lead with another strike here from Cheyenne, Washington.
8th and 9th frame would be setup frames.
Yes. All right, got out of the big mess.
Couldn't really see, but it almost looked like it really hooked down lane, so it might be time for her to make a move.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be, for her, she should really, as soon as she goes high, if she thinks she threw it somewhat good off her hand, which it looked like she did, I would just make the move.
That's her first open. Wow. Well, huge lead now going into the 9th and 10th frames. And if you're Jackson State, just stay clean. Stay clean. Force them to come up with 4 strikes in a row. Gray putting the hammer down. That was huge.
Great setup frame. What moves they've made. And let me tell you, those shots have been rock solid by her.
I don't think so. A couple of open frames. The pressure's really on Prairie View A&M now. They have to strike out and hope. Even by doing that, still Jackson State's game to lose at this point. Unless you went a little wider, came in from a different angle, and there's a strike you needed in the 9th.
They're starting to float that ball just nice and easy to the right because they've made that move to the left, catching some of that head oil.
And all Capri Howard needs to do is mark.
And the ball's shaping for her now. Nice off that pattern.
See the max Prairie View A&M can get is 205. Jackson State, they can get a 234 with filling the frame here in the 10th, but you just need a mark, as all Michael Boykin's team needs to even this up at 2 games apiece. That's the mark you need.
Clutch shots in the 10th by Jackson State to bring this to another game.
Yeah.
Another couple games, actually.
Need 2 pins, so just don't throw 2 gutter balls and you're okay.
Yeah, stay behind the line.
Just 2 pins. Prairie View won the first 2 games. Jackson State has come back to win the last 2. We're tied at 2. We'll be back. Welcome back to the SWAC Bowling Championship at the International Training and Research Center in Arlington with Carolyn Doran Ballard. I'm Dave Armstrong. Here we go, Game 6. This is the game that Michael Boykin's team has to have to stay alive. They trail 3 games to 2. Prairie View A&M can win their 2nd consecutive SWAC championship with a win in this game and their 4th overall. So here's Tiara Jackson. Much better start than the last game. Big strike for Jackson State.
She's actually bowled better on this left lane. Much more direct, and again, she has great ball speed. So when everything just flows and she's in time, it's just a great shot off her hand. And this is, you're right, do or die for Jackson State.
There's your Wren trying to answer. She's figured something out though. She had got a game and a half there where she went on a hiatus, but she's back.
I actually think she made a ball change, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like a ball change. Still coming in just a little flat, leaving the 10 pin.
The lane conditions changing. Maybe they're going to something that doesn't grip quite so much.
A little bit cleaner through the front so they don't have to fight it.
And there's a spare for Asia Wren. All right. Alja Anderson will try to double up for Jackson State here. Get things going. Pretty good shot, a little light, and now leaves a difficult split in the 5-7.
And sometimes that's a little easier said than done. Not a bad shot at all. You can see how she just stays right behind the ball, but doesn't quite get the hook like she was on the right lane and leaves the 5-7.
She made it again! Wow!
Huge shot, huge.
Wow, what a shot.
Moves left, uses her strike target, and it is perfect. Sliding that 5 right into the 7.
Textbook. Huge shot for Roger Anderson. Now here's Stephanie Vasquez.
I know Jackson State won against Prairie View to be the top seed, but you know, being the dominant team all year, staying the course and having that outlook of we are the ones you need to beat. We don't need to beat ourselves. You need to beat us. And sometimes that's hard to do because you know everybody's aiming for you. And that's really where the mental game comes into play in more ways than one.
Nice there for Vasquez in the second, 2-pin lead for the Lady Tigers. Here we go to the third. And again, it's Natalie Cura. Was always left. Got a great pin count out of it. And now just the 10-pin remains.
And I do think the girls realize that they are trying to keep their angles where they feel they can hit the 1-3. Me, I think it's nerves. I think, you're trying to do the best you can, and you tend to press just a little bit. This is where you really need to go back to some of that mental training where, how did I feel in practice? I've done this 200 times on campus, at our lanes. I know how to throw the ball. So that's all I need to do.
Cheyenne Washington. Another good shot. Just fill the frames and then you wait for something to happen.
Absolutely.
You get a double somewhere and then gives you It's a big edge. Just fill the frame.
That's when we talked about make the move, hit flat 10, it's a spare you can make. You can't make the big 4. Well, you can, but it's a lot harder to make than the flat 10. For all the young ladies that are watching and gentlemen that are watching, a lot of training in the gym, a lot of work on the mental game, and one doesn't outweigh the other. So this is, you know, they bowl a lot of games, tough conditions, so don't ever stop learning.
Another good shot there by Kaya Gray. She's solidly in the pocket a lot.
Here's where we see some of the characteristics, I think, of the ITRC is just that balls here now seem to just, they're not coming off the pattern they were the way they were earlier. The backs tend to get a little bit tighter. Why? Well, they're moving in a little bit more, starting to hit that friction a little bit earlier, and just not having anything on the back end. So again, like we saw one of the girls, and I can't remember which one it was, but changed to a ball that actually is a little bit cleaner.
And again, you just keep filling frames. Now going back between a 1 and a 2 pin lead. All stemming from that lone strike in the first frame. So here is Crystal Klein. A little light, not an easy spare conversion for her. There's the 7 pin.
Another good shot. Gets it a little bit further right, but still thought she might get the little wiggle off that 7 pin. Right there, the tap. But it was stubborn.
Another spare again. Not one single open frame for Crystal Klein all day.
And Prairie View had, again, that word that he used, team. We are in this together. It's not about one, it's about the many. And I thought that was so fitting, you know, because again, the girls are hard on themselves. I mean, everybody is. You don't want to let your team down. But they have worked, you know, all season for this, or whatever season they had, because of COVID. So they've had to come together pretty quickly to be able to figure out how they can mesh and moves and feel that momentum when they have it.
And a light 7 pin count. These pin counts are important in games where it's a lot about making spares.
Right here, she's made the move in, but got it just a little right down lane, right at that tracer. She's been keeping it to the left of the second tracer, around 11, 12. That one got just a little bit right, and like I said, it's just not grabbing at the end, a little too flat. So to her, an easy change for her, just get around it just a little bit. I think she would be fine, because I don't want to mess with her ball speed. I think it's crucial on this pattern.
Important here to concentrate on this one. You don't want to chop it. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. The 5 pin remains in a big open frame here in the 5th.
Throw straight at it. Actually looked good off her hand. And that's the usual chop on that spare, especially going straight at it. They need to regroup. Here comes the coach getting a little bit closer, needs to remind them.
Yeah.
It's 1 frame. They have 5 more to go. Anything can happen. This is where the mental training comes in.
That's right. So here is Rosales. She would like to put the hammer down after that open frame. And a big strike in the 5th for Rosales. And a 22-pin lead for the Panthers. If they win this game, they win it all.
How about we...
All right, welcome back to Arlington, Texas. So now, all of a sudden, Jackson State not only behind 3-2, but now trailing here after that open frame in the 5th. Big advantage for Prairie View, so no more mistakes for the Lady Tigers. One right through the nose, and, well, this is like a single pin spare for
Correct.
Tiara Jackson, the way she's been converting these 310s. Now that your daughter's bowling and bowling so well, harder for you to watch than it is to bowl?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, I don't even watch. I watch from a distance.
Oh,
Hard way. Oh, thought she might actually catch that.
2 opens in a row now. So Jackson State has really opened the door for the Panthers, who lead by 23. And a strike here would really put the hammer down. That looked good. And another flat 10.
She actually got that one a little left, so she's created some hold. I love it. And again, flat 10, but is definitely makeable.
All right, to maintain this now, Coach White knows as he paces around, just fill these frames, put the pressure on the Tigers. Okay.
What a complete change as to the first set in that they have been able to fill frames. They have now chased the transition, making moves a little bit quicker, talking a little more. There was more talk. Even me looking over, I can see there's a little bit more communication. I think in the second set, everybody became a little more, and I don't want to use the word comfortable and complacent, but just, hey, we have a job to do, but we're comfortable with what we're doing, and we're going to make the moves, and we're going to commit to it, and commit to it 100%.
Raja Anderson, that's not going to get there. And some of this, you can tell, is A, the pressure of the moment, but B, it's that feeling like we're so far down now, and everybody's trying to do something maybe more than they can.
Right, you're pressing.
Yeah,
You're
pressing.
pressing, and you're just not letting that, and it's the littlest of things.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting that swing down just a little smoother, or, using your legs the way you have been the last couple shots. I mean, it's just sometimes the slightest thing. But you're right, it's coming down to the wire. They really can't afford any open frames, so you tend to want to try harder.
Yeah. Good cover. The spare on the 7th. Keeps the Panthers within range anyway. So again, it's up to Stephanie Vasquez to, again, get those clean frames. Lady Panthers can kind of sense it now. We're getting right down to it. Coaching. That one got high and came out of it okay.
Definitely time to make another move on this lane, because I'm using the tracers down. That first tracer, she got it to the left of it around 11, and that ball really did hook. It is time to probably make a bigger move, but this is her last shot on that lane for this game.
That's right.
So she just has to worry about the spare.
Good shot. All right, she did her job. That's what you want to do, is fill those frames. Cut the lead to 20, though, from 23. So now Natalie Kerr, they know Jackson State, unless Prairie View makes a mistake, they've got to double up somewhere, possibly triple up.
Went to it, he said, we're going to do that. we talked about ball changes, and he said, not really ball changes. We need to focus on just good shots, because he did not feel like the girls were executing. So, again, you know, I look at it from one perspective and go, gosh, this is what they should be doing, but they may not feel like they're making good shots. What you feel and what you see at times are two totally different things.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Okay. Now Cheyenne Washington. She is as a freshman. Just the start of something really special. Oh, that's the first time I've seen her miss a head pin the entire day. And that's where kind of nerves start to come into play, don't they?
Absolutely, but I love how she uses her left hand in her stance to support the ball weight, so that when she initiates her swing just drops naturally.
All right, it comes down to this, really, because you don't expect Klein to miss marking in the ninth, right? So if you're Kaya Gray, you've got to figure, like, I need to set things up for Capri Howard. I need a strike here.
I would, yes. As of right now, I would think Jackson State is definitely saying to themselves, we have to have all 10 in the pit.
Yeah. It's a good shot.
Looks good.
High. Leaves a 3-pin.
Right here, looked good off her
Yeah.
hand, but again, just at the very end. I like the direct, but again, that could be, it's so hard to see, from where we're sitting and everything now because of COVID, but it could be just a little bit of ball speed, or, if you had more games to bowl, I'm talking a whole other set, it would definitely be time for a ball change.
Okay, there's the spare. But now the best Jackson State can roll is a 180. So here is Crystal Klein. Alright. Makeable spare.
Comes in just a little light. I think these last few frames are sheer, just getting a little nervous.
Yeah, sure.
It's almost there, but
Yeah.
again, they focused on staying in the moment, and it's sometimes hard to do because you get a little anxiety and your heart's racing and you have your team cheering.
Okay, she tugged it, but she'll take it. So what I want to say is, Crystal Klein has been crystal clear.
Crystal clear,
And
absolutely.
she has been rock solid, perfect, not one single open frame all day long. And there's the max scores. So it comes down to this, really. To have any shot at all, Capri Howard needs to strike out and hope. Now 169 is max score for Coach Boykin's team. And it gets down to where Prairie View A&M needs 6 pins. It looks like the Panthers are going to win their second straight SWAC championship.
I am very, very impressed with collegiate bowling. I'm very impressed with Jackson State. They fought to the bitter end. Prairie View, they just stuck to their game plan. They felt like they were the ones to beat.
You know, to me, the winner here is women's collegiate bowling.
I agree.
And the advance that it's making. I mean, we're watching it. We've watched it over the last 5-6 years. It's been amazing.
And that's why I was bringing it up, because I get asked a lot, like some people wear wristbands, some people don't, they hook the ball more. Well, you can see 2, 3, 4, 5 girls here that hook the ball plenty. They don't have a wristband on, so they've done some training to teach their, teach themselves how to do what they want to do. Again, you have a couple straight players here that made some crucial moves on the lane, kept the ball in play, and stuck to what they did best. And that is so hats off to training, both on and off the lanes.
So Patricia Rosales just needs to do what she does. Just do your thing. And that'll do it. The Lady Panthers of Prairie View A&M are your SWAC bowling champions for 2021. And we'll crown the champions when we come back. A&M, the Panthers come from behind and win not only 1 but 2 matches today to take the SWAC championship in 2021. Joining us now, the head coach of the Panthers, Glenn White. Glenn, congratulations. What do you think was one of the keys for your team coming out on top today?
I think one of the main keys was confidence. We know we've been putting in a lot of work in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and we saw a lot of that work pay off on the first day. So we strive to just keep that confidence in knowing that we could do what we needed to do, and we wanted to focus on ourselves. So it was just a matter of us being confident and rolling the ball and being consistent in what we were doing.
Excellent, Coach. Congratulations on being Coach of the Year. You also mentioned that you were the dominant team all year, and you mentioned you're staying the course. We are the ones to beat. What was your motivation to the girls to keep that focus?
We wanted to be the ones that ended up representing the conference. We thought that we had done enough during the year, and that we put the work in, and that if we continue to work hard and battle hard, that we would end up with this result. But we knew it was going to be a serious challenge. We have several teams in our conference that we knew were going to be strong contenders, and they showed that not only during the year in our roundups, but also here at the championship. So we just wanted to do what we needed to do, focus on ourselves, and put the work in and hope for the best. And I can't be more proud of my team. They earned every bit of this championship, and I'm just proud of the battle that they put in this evening.
Well, congratulations once again, Coach. You guys are terrific. You did more than enough yeoman's work here today. So congratulations to the Panthers of Prairie View A&M. Hey, join us on ESPNU April 10th for the NCAA Bowling Championship from Kansas City. It all starts at 7 o'clock Eastern. For Carol and Doran Ballard, I'm Dave Armstrong. Congratulations once again to Prairie View A&M, the 2021 SWAC Bowling Champions. Good night from Arlington.